NSFW, people who have masturbated in class. Just why? My boy told me to turn to page 127 and there were not even a picture, just a word. The kids were taking a test and I was bored. Edit. This is why you should always put it serious tag on your questions on Reddit. Wait a second. I didn't. We were having a test that I didn't know of, and I got so anxious and scared that I just came. I had no idea what happened, but it felt really good. 4-ish years later I found out what happened that day. Edit. Spelling. Pop quiz and I jizzed in my pants. Have you ever heard of the Pythagorean theorem? Sounds. I had Zoom's camera off and the professor is kinda hot. Didn't know I was unmuted though. I was in 5th grade and I just wriggled in my chair the right way. Cut to me an hour later, still doing it and all flushed and sweaty. Ward. I started in 5th grade too. I always was afraid I was early. 9th for me. I tried in 7th and 8th but couldn't till 9th. I like to work under pressure. PHEWWW tilde. When I was a kid, you know Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, right? I saw it in an art book. When I saw Mona Lisa's hands folded by her knee, how do I say this? It's a bit crude, but I got a boner. Aw, I see you're a man of culture. For the last time, I was just trying to find my keys. For legal reasons, I'm not allowed to say. However, the horse didn't seem too pleased about it. It must have been bad if the teacher seemed unpleased by it. Not exactly class, but I was about 13 and girls my age had all just started wearing thongs and you could see the straps sticking out of their pants when they sat in class. One day in 7th grade math, it was thongs gone wild with all the hot girls. I was in the back and after not too long I had to use the bathroom. First successful school fap and I have zero regrets. How can someone pull this off during class? You don't pull it off, that would be barbaric. Just vigorous stroking. I can't even decide whether to encourage or discourage this kind of commentary. It's not uncommon. A teacher of 20 years. A kid wanked off all over his mates on the back of a bus going on a skiing trip, and a kid at my husband's school, wanking during an English class, came over a copy of 101 Dalmatians. That's intense. Well, it's about puppies actually. The teacher was hot. Not me, but a friend whom I caught. When I asked him why, he said he liked the danger. Also, our history teacher was this hung young man. Couldn't blame the guy for doing so, just for doing so during class. Personally, I hate it, but you know, you do you. How do you know your teacher was hung? I tried it cause I thought I could do it without getting caught and like masturbating, but the way the teacher was looking at me, I don't think they knew, but it made me too paranoid to continue. My classmates did it once they were caught by the camera, and the weird thing is they did while the teacher was there, and what's more weird is they didn't get in trouble for doing it, a mild punishment. Yes, but they didn't even call their parents. I wouldn't call them either, based on my prior experience of seeing how parents treat sexuality issues. Not me, but my teacher was caught jerking it in the computer room by the computer teacher during class. His classroom was next to hers and they were connected by a little room in the middle, and he would go over there while his class was doing tests or something. One time I tried jerking it on the school bus because there was a hot girl on that same bus and we were seated so I could see her, but she couldn't see me somehow. The only problem was there was a guy asleep across the aisle from me and I kept praying he wasn't actually awake. Sadly I didn't finish, but it was a cool experience. Imagine if he woke up and looked into your eyes as you finished. Our jerk-off buddies. Everyone was gone and I had the chance, so I took it. Not me, but a classmate. We were in the school's auditorium watching some movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but it was some documentary and definitely not at all. This was a big auditorium and there was like 13 of us, so we were all spaced far from each other. I saw from the corner of my eye that a guy in the row below me was moving a lot. He was in that row alone and I was in the top row alone. I guess he forgot that there was someone behind him, because when I turned to look at him, he was fully out, full on wanking it. No idea why he was doing it, but mind you, we were 16 years old at the time, so he really should have known better. Bored, put my pencil case between my legs and wiggled back and forth in my seat a little to make time pass. My students are hot. Wait a second. I thought my health teacher was hot, so what does my horny freshman do? Funny story. I was reported for doing so even though I was just scratching my balls because they were itchy. I'm a female and I masturbated in class in grade 6. I sat at the back and everyone was busy with homework. I pray to God up to this day that the teacher did not see me. She was sitting at her desk, desk, also at the back. I remember in middle school we had a cougar of a math teacher. A guy named Moses caught this kid jerking off to our teacher with his jacket covering his lap. He recorded this kid jacking off under his desk, and all I could ask was if he used the same jacket to cover it up to clean it up. My nephew quit teaching when a boy masturbated in his class. He couldn't believe it, and he just quit. I was writing some notes from the board. Class was over and had kinda been working it under my hoodie for the last half hour. People leaving was, I thought, a good distraction to finish up, but the teacher caught me. For some reason, us making eye contact rocketed off the most insane, leg-buckling finish imaginable. She was horrified, disgusted, told me to get out and never come back to her class, all that stuff. That's how I managed to get expelled from homeschooling and stop being invited to holidays. I used to have a partner in class that would almost every day, if he couldn't do it at home, then he'd do it in school. This one kid in class started breathing heavy. Everyone heard but the teacher. Then there was a loud bang, and it turns out he trapped his in his zipper. He panicked and fell off his chair. Sticky finger. Well, I was in 6th grade and I took an advanced computer class that only had 5 people in it. Each student sat in his own row. I sat in back row, and teacher sat up front. 55 minutes of internet access, and my assignments were done in 20 minutes. You do the math. Also, my social studies teacher was fresh out of college and super hot. That's where the titties were. Not me, but a friend. He said that at 6th he was extremely bored of their teacher's discussion, so he just started fapping, until he repeated it again and again until the end of the school year. He also said that the teacher knew very well what he was doing because of where he's sitting at, and his teacher just ignored him, and his teacher was female. We were all clapping under our desks for some exercise in music class. I mean, this was going on for a few minutes at a time in this lesson, and I was a hypersexualized 11-year-old. Go figure. I'm sure I wasn't the only one doing it. A few hands went up when asked if we wanted to do it again the next week. Haha, I'm here just to read comments. Yeah, that's what 99% of askreddit is. I was horny after seeing a girl's legs, and I just couldn't control rubbing my while looking at those delicious legs. Nobody caught you. I was just fidgeting with my hands in my pockets in English class in 6th grade. The special ed teacher didn't think so. They still use it against whenever I got in trouble at my old middle school. What's up, op? Looking for redemption. One of my friends was the coolest in the class, became bored and horny. He used his biology book to look at a drawing of a naked woman and started. 2 friends next to him did it as well because they did everything to be cool as well. So I just saw how 3 friends masturbated in class next to each other. Gayest moment I've seen, and they all say that my story is made up now. Well, fortunately I'm more believable than them. I lost faith on those 2 guys doing everything the same just to be cool. Women can do it unnoticed. So can guys. Some guys. I've managed hands-free once. I was about 13-ish. Lots of concentration and hands-free. It was a weird time, but when I was an elementary kid, I was unaware that I was masturbating in class. My way of masturbation was to rub my between my legs and eventually get off. I discovered it in class during our examinations, and the feeling of nervousness and excitement led me there. I remember that I frequently do it, and it was the earliest masturbatory experience I can think of. Just like Van Halen, I was hot for teacher. I was horny. Not me, but I was sitting in the back of the class in English language arts, and I was bored, so I just started looking around the classroom, and I saw a kid in the very front of the class just with his hand in the back of his pants, and he was bent over, and I'm pretty sure he was fingering himself. His face also didn't make the situation better. Also, yes, he was the weird kid in that grade. I just writhed in my chair for half an hour, and because I'm a fat fuck, my balls were rubbing. Not the same, but my friend masturbated in the bathroom during an AP test twice. Man, my uncle was looking THICC. How it started, but I always had this small security blanket with me wherever I went when I was little. Well, for some reason I started dry humping it and it felt good, so then during nap time I started doing that, got caught and then stopped. Well, I didn't just do it once but multiple times. I would usually do it through the fabric of my jeans and rub my that way. To keep myself from being hurt, I kept it sideways. Felt pretty good. To be honest, I was just bored and felt like doing it. After that I did it 2 more times. The worst thing was I was in the front row. One of my teammates from college knew a guy in high school who pulled this stunt in art class. His name was Johnny Slogger. Teacher witnessed the event and sent him to the principal's office. When questioned, he said he was sharpening his pencil as it was dull. News went around the school and they coined the term masturbation as slogging off. Why not? Why not? It's my kink. The right mix of hormones makes teenagers basically mentally handicapped. They just realize it years after. Myself included. Not masturbated but flashed. I've done it in my guidance counselor's office. I was her office aide, but she was gone for the day and there was no Wi-Fi in the room. I had to entertain myself somehow. The worst part is I was like 17, so I definitely knew better. I sat next to a guy who looked at DeviantArt latex BDSM drawings. This was a 400-level history discussion course with less than 10 people in the class. I want to say I was surprised by this, but it lined up with everything I knew and heard about him. If you are reading this, I wanted to discuss the First World War, not look at your, because I was